In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the latest version of Node on either a Linux or a Mac system. So it might be useful to see if we have Node already installed on our system. To do that, go to your terminal and type in node-version. If this did work, it would give us a version number for Node that was on our system. But of course, we don't have Node, and so we get this error message, command node not found. Now, it does tell us that you could type in this command sudo apt install Node.js. First of all, this command is only for Debian or Ubuntu-based systems. If you have another version of Linux or if you have Mac, that command's not going to work anyway. But if you did have a Debian or Ubuntu system and you did try this, it would install Node. It just wouldn't install the latest version of Node. It would install an old version. So don't do this anyway. Anyway, what we're about to do next is we're going to go to the website and we're going to download Node and then install it. To download Node, you go to its website, nodejs.org. Now, when you get to the website, you basically have two options. You can download what's called an LTS version or the current version. LTS stands for long-term support. So if you are a business or an enterprise and you want support for using Node, then you would download this. If you're a developer or you don't really care about LTS support, then you can just download this. And this is the version that I'm going to use. So what I'd like to do is click Other Downloads. And what this is going to do is it's going to show us the different systems, Windows, Mac, Linux, and you can download the 32-bit or 64-bit. Now, if you have a 64-bit OS, obviously you're going to download the 64-bit version. If you're on Windows, of course, this video is not about Windows, but if you were on Windows and you were watching, you could just click the 64-bit MSI, and when it downloaded, double-click on it, and it would install Node. If you're on Mac, you could download this one. It just downloads a package file. You double click it and install it, and that works fine. I like to be more manual and have a direct control over where all the files go. So I like this one for Linux and this one for Mac. So if you're on a Mac, click this one. And if you're on Linux, click this one. So I click it and the file's going to download. And once it downloads, it goes to you can see my downloads folder. And once it downloads, I can double click it or right click and say extract here. Okay, now I've got a message that says this file has been successfully extracted. And so what I want to do is, this is fine. This is the folder that has all the Node files in it. If you go under bin, this is the actual Node executable right here. Okay, but I want to rename this file, so I'm going to right click and click rename, and I'm just going to call this Node. So I downloaded this file. Now you could have done this on either a Mac or Linux, and download this file right here, extract it, and then once it's extracted, just rename it to Node. Okay, so let's go ahead and move our Node folder to a more appropriate location in our file system. Let's go back to your terminal. Make sure you're in your home folder by typing in cd. You could also type in cd tilde, and we're going to make a folder called .local. All right, now I already have this folder, so I got this error message. Now, after you've created the folder, you're going to cd into that folder, okay? And we can see what we have inside of here. Now, if yours is empty, then that's fine. I have some stuff already in here. Now, I'm going to move this Node folder inside of this directory, .local. Technically, PWD is print working directory. Technically, it's home child.local, but yours would be home, whatever your username is, .local. Okay, I'm going to move this folder into here. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to say move, go, the tilde means from the home folder, go into the downloads folder, and then Node. So it says Node inside the downloads folder. And so it says move this thing, and the dot means here, move it here. And so you can see the Node folder that was over here is now gone. And so now if I do it ls, there's the Node folder. Okay, so now that we've moved the Node folder over, it's time to see if Node is actually working or not. Okay, to see if Node is actually working, we can go back to our terminal and type in node-version, and we get an error message. The reason we get an error message is because even though we have Node on our hard drive, the system, in this case Linux or Mac or whatever it may be, it can't find it. So we may have the folder or the files, but it doesn't actually know where Node is at. So you have to tell the system. So where is Node? Well, if I cd into Node, and then there's another folder called bin, right there, that is Node. So if I were to say ./node version, then that would work. The reason it works is because I'm telling the system node, so dot means from here. So right here, there's a node. So run this node file here and then check its version. And so the system can easily find it because you're telling it where it's at. So what we want to do is we want to tell the system, or Linux or Mac, where Node is actually installed, okay? And how an operating system finds a program is through something called a path environment variable. So all environment variables, if you typed in env, just env by itself, this will show you all your environment variables you have in your system. Now what we can do is you could type in env pipe grep and look for this thing called path if you wanted to, and this would show you everything. So you're searching for this word path in all your environment variables, and this is actually the one I want. But instead of doing this thing, you can actually just do echo $path. And so this $path, this is the name of a variable. In this case, it's called an environment variable. And your different sections are delimited by a semicolon. So for example, here, home, child, conda, env, pi37, bin, that's a folder. And so when it looks for Node, it looks for Node in this folder. And then if it doesn't find it, it looks for Node in this folder. And if it doesn't find it, it looks for Node in this folder, or sorry, this folder. And then if it can't find it, it looks in this folder. So when you type in just Node by itself, what your system does is it actually goes through each one of these sections, this section, and then this section, and then this section, and then this section. And if it goes through all those different sections or all those different paths and it can't find it, then you get this error message, node not found. But we actually know where Node is at. It's right here. It's in my case here, home child dot local node bin. So all I want to do is I want to add this path into this path variable. I basically want to modify this thing and add this on. So how do we do that? I'm going to show you that next. To modify an environment variable, we have to edit a startup file. Now, which file you have to edit is dependent on which shell you are running. Now, to figure that out, just do ps, and you're either running bash or Z shell. And so here it says I'm running bash, and if you're running Z shell, it says something like zsh. Now, once you figure that out, you need to have a text editor. So you can either use VI or Emacs or Atom or Sublime or VS Code, whatever, just some sort of text editor because we're going to edit a file. Now, I'm going to use VI. Now, if I did have Z shell, I would say vi.zshrc, and if I have bash, which I do, I would type in bash rc. You could also do bash profile as well. Okay, so in this case here, I'm doing bash rc. Let's go to the bottom of this file to start modifying. So find a place near the end, and what we're going to do is we're going to create an environment variable. Now, how you create environment variables is you say export something like dog equals 3. This will create an environment variable called dog, and its value will be 3. To verify this, I can just save this and exit out and type in source.bash rc. And sourcing means just rerun this file. And now if I typed in echo dog, you can see the value is 3. So I did indeed create an environment variable called dog, and its value is 3. Now I want to do the same thing with path. So I come in here, back to the bottom again, and I'm going to export path. So I'm going to create this variable or modify it, and its value is going to be equal to /home child bin. So this is the path to my Node folder. The problem is if you were to save this right now, your system would be broken because all the other Unix utilities like ls and pwd and all the other Unix stuff, it is not inside this folder. So when you needed to find something else that was not Node, it couldn't find it. So remember, path is everything that you want to find, including just the default Unix stuff. So I'm going to put my Node folder here, and then I'm going to say $$ path. So this may look a little bit strange. This path here at the beginning without the $sign, this is creating a variable. And the $sign here means use it. So this says whatever the old version was, so think of it as like expanding it out. So expand out this variable to what the old version was, and then append this on the beginning. So take this, put this on the beginning, and then take this, and this is the end. Now once you have done this, and you save it and exit out, and you resource this thing, and now you type in echo $path, you can see that the node folder is now at the beginning, right? And then all your other stuff is at the end. So now when you type in node, what your system does is it traverses the path, each different section, it traverses it until it finds it, and once it finds it, it stops. So you type in node, it's going to look right here and say, hey, is node inside this folder? And because it is, it'll find it and run it, and then that'll be it. So if I type in node-version, then there's that. Now because we have node, that means we also have npm install. So we could do npm install -g, like we could type in like Lodash or Express.js, whatever, and hit enter. And now npm works as well too. And you didn't have to do sudo on the npm because the .local is in a folder that you own. So the good thing about this is you never have to do sudo again. So it helps with that. Anyway, that's how you install the latest version of Node on either Linux or Mac.